Welcome to Kim Talks Resilience, where we share stories of insight and inspiration in life, love, and business with resilient women from around the world. Speaking with authors, entrepreneurs, founders, and coaches to learn their strategies for a more resilient life so we can all build the life we love. I'm your host, Kim Hayden. Alrighty, welcome back. First time here, welcome. I'm Kim. Super excited that we get this moment to spend some time together and share something forward. You know that I'm really all about women entrepreneurs and helping them find the strength to continue to push and break through and level up. And I'm excited about our guest today because this is a space that I have challenge with. I am challenged with putting clear copy, not being too wordy, finding the right words. I'm better at the picture. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but the reality is if you don't have the words, you can't create a clear picture. So Kelsey Foremost, founder of Magic Words Copywriting, is an award-winning marketing expert who teaches entrepreneurs how to write words that sell without sounding salesy. She's been featured in publications like Business Insider, Refinery 29, Glamour, and has spoken at some of the top marketing conferences in the country, like Inbound and South by Southwest. Yes, her courses and templates have helped thousands of entrepreneurs learn to write their own high converting copy. But Kelsey's real mission is to help people find their true voice so that they feel deeply seen, heard, and empowered every time they need to talk about their business. And also, make more money in the process. Because as I've mentioned in so many of my podcasts, women entrepreneurs, less than 5% get traditional funding, JV or VC money. We are out there bootstrapping the crap out of it. And sometimes those boots have holes in the soles, baby. And the reality is that we deserve to make money. We deserve to be paid for our expertise because not enough of us are speaking up and speaking loudly. So Kelsey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Gosh, I was just dancing in my chair when you were doing the intro because it's such a common issue. You are so not alone. Anybody who also struggles with writing, you are not alone. I am here to help. I am so excited. This is my favorite thing to talk about. We're going to get you guys some practical tips on how to write how you talk and sell without being salesy using nothing but word magic. It costs nothing. It's not about an algorithm. Copywriting is like waving a magic wand you didn't know you had already.
And copywriting is critical even when it comes to like we aren't leveraging press releases. We aren't leveraging. There's so many things we're not leveraging, and
Yes.
and uh, copywriting. I mean, how much? Think about it. Adidas, Nike. How much money are they spending on copywriting?
Millions. Well,
Oodles.
and here's a really important thing, like to level set the playing field is I actually would love to define copywriting because a lot of people think copy is just words, right? So copy is anywhere that there are words that describe you, your brand, or your business. It's not just about product descriptions and things. It's about how you talk about yourself. And that is a really, really key piece that a lot of people miss. And then the second thing I want to define is copywriting. So if copy is words that define you, your brand, or your business, copywriting actually has a very specific purpose. It is the art and science of using words to convince your ideal customer to take a desired action. So many times we write, and as you said, overwrite. I love verbal vomiters. You are my people. We over explain and we don't really know what is the action we're hoping our reader takes by the end of reading this section of my website, of reading my Instagram bio, of listening to my podcast intro. Their copy is freaking everywhere. And if you just change the way you think about writing, you start thinking like a copywriter, it is truly amazing how much better your results can get.
And we're going to dive into this. I want to bring this back around though. Who is Kelsey and why is this even important to you?
So, I'm Kelsey Foremost. I am a former Hollywood actress turned copywriter. I spent 10 years as a successful actress in Hollywood, and I also was a screenwriter. And while I had that career, I really learned what makes a good story, what makes people pay attention, what makes people watch and keep watching, what connects emotionally with people. And long story short, I had a dark night of the soul. I realized the acting industry was not for me. Hollywood as an industry and a lifestyle was not for me. I have an entrepreneurial heart. I have a creative heart. I love being my own boss and I love helping other women be their own boss. And I had a best friend who was a copywriter for a very fancy, very famous business coach who, NDA, I can't say who. And she was like, Kelsey, you would kill it at copywriting. You already understand what makes things entertaining. What if you applied that to writing for businesses? And lo and behold, it was like a cartoon light bulb went off over my head. And I was like, oh, this takes what I love about being an actor, getting to connect with people on an emotional level and have them say, oh my gosh, I see myself in this story. I feel seen. I feel heard. And then help them figure out how to tell their own story and not just tell their story, but have financial freedom because they can tell their story. Oh, nothing better in the world. So I founded my company, Magic Words Copywriting, back in 2018 and started realizing very quickly, oh, a lot of people are held back simply because they don't have the confidence or the practical tools to write their own high converting copy. And I started to feel a little ethically icky. And I was like, I'm charging these women thousands of dollars when really they could be writing a lot of this themselves if they just changed the way that they thought when they sat down at the keyboard. So I spent a long time creating the course I wish I'd had as an entrepreneur. And I made my signature program, Copy Class, which is designed to teach non writers how to write words that sell. And almost immediately, about 7,000 people signed up for the class, and it kind of went viral. And that has been my mission since, is whether I'm writing the copy for entrepreneurs or whether they're learning from me, everything I do is about helping people feel seen, helping people feel heard, helping them feel confident when somebody asks the dreaded question, so what is it you do?
Yep. And that's hard. And there's a deeper psychological challenge there. Is
Yes.
we women tend to not present themselves, especially because in the world today,
Mhm.
brand is
Mhm.
you. You are the
Yes.
brand. If you're an entrepreneur, I don't have somebody's badge to hide behind. I don't work for Nike. I don't work for Google. That's not, I work for me. And that I think is the biggest challenge. And yet will be the greatest asset to the years coming,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because yeah, it's so important, so important. So walk us through. So real quick, before we dive into what you do specifically and start pulling it apart and asking the right questions, I want to tackle one thing. I want everybody to know I've interviewed a lot of people. Like I've sat across from incredible people like yourself. I've been on red carpets and interviewed people from the Van Helsing crew to Elizabeth Vargas, and let me tell you, people, you probably regained time because Hollywood is hard. My gosh,
Mhm.
you guys are putting 14 and 16 hours in, and that's not even what you prep beforehand. I had no clue. I thought it was just being pretty. So, you know what? Welcome to gaining back some of your life.
Oh, gaining back all of my life. And I would love to just take a small sidebar here because I think what's really important about my story of leaving Hollywood is that I struggled for years with the decision only because I had invested so much time, energy, and money into building a career there. And I think a lot of people will identify with, well, I've already spent all this time, education, money on classes to become a marketer for Google or whatever it is. Ergo, and this is coming back to your point about women, I am not allowed to want something for myself, right? I am not allowed to be a personal brand because I should just shut up and be grateful, right?
Yeah.
I had a career, I call it Devil Wears Prada syndrome. If anyone has seen that movie or read that book, when the editor says, Andy, a million girls would kill for this job. That's what it felt like, where I was like, I can't quit. A million girls would kill for this job. I am surviving as a working actress. Like, I'm not allowed to be not grateful. And in a way, I was grateful, but I also knew it wasn't enough and it wasn't quite right. And so, anybody who's feeling that, I really want you to sit with it and really understand, as Kim said, like, how do you want to spend your time? You are in control of how you spend your life so much more than you think you are. So much there it breaks my heart to think about all of the incredible businesses and products and books and speeches that we'll never see
Yeah.
simply because, and again, mostly women are indoctrinated into thinking we need to be wanted before we are allowed to want.
All you need is one person to want it. That's you.
That's right. That's
That's all
right.
you need. You have to be
Mhm.
nobody else is gonna do it for you, you gotta do it for yourself. Let's dive into what you do and how you serve. So, obviously, there is, a great, um, personal messaging of acknowledging self-worth. You've got to acknowledge
Yes.
self-worth before you can even, uncover great copy, right?
Mhm.
So, let's talk a little bit about what you do and how you serve.
Yes. So, with private copywriting clients or students who come to me for help with their copy, whether they're in a class or they've bought a template or they're in my membership, it is shocking to me to this day how often people cry. They cry because when I start asking them questions about who they are, first of all, usually nobody's ever asked them that, certainly not in the context of their work. When I start to ask them, well, how do you want people to feel when they work with you? Who are you really? Like, let's figure out not just the value proposition for the business, because the best value propositions for business come from who you already are, right? So, figuring out who you already are in the first place is 90% of the game. And it's so, moving to me. I feel so honored how all of these women are trusting me with very deep, vulnerable things. And here's the thing, people's bullshit meters are incredible, right?
Yep.
We know if someone's being fake, we know if someone's being salesy, we immediately click out. We have zero patience in today's digital age. So, if you do not take the time to understand who you are so that you can be authentic, so that you can sell in a way that is more about helping people solve problems they already have versus selling them something they don't need, you can't get there without first understanding this baseline of who you are. So that's the essence of what I
Yep.
do is I have, as like you, Kim, so much experience just asking the right questions and working with people, holding their hands, helping them understand what their real value proposition is, then helping them identify, okay, who is your actual ideal customer? Not just who you think your ideal customer is, but who actually wants to give you money? Who already is paying you? Who already is paying your competitors? Figuring out that ideal customer avatar and then adjusting the words on their website, their email funnels, their social, their bios, adjusting those things one by one so that it's one cohesive personal brand that people immediately recognize. Oh, this is Kim Hayden. I know exactly what I'm in for. I freaking love her. Also, does she sell anything? Does she coach? Like it's this wonderful thing that happens when you start working on your copy, that everything becomes cohesive and people just sort of naturally start finding you. It's magic. It's magic.
And I mean, the reality is this story is currency.
Yes,
Story is currency. And we can go back thousands of years, and storytelling is it's the original form of communication, right?
correct. Well, and also, fun fact, nerd alert,
I love
pushes
facts. I love
glasses up
facts.
her
Okay.
nose. The human brain is biologically wired to remember story over facts. So I watched a documentary a while ago on Netflix. It's about the brain, and I forget what it's called, but there's like different episodes about the brain. And one of the episodes was on memory. And they did this deep dive into if you are, they did a deep dive into people who take memory competitions. Like they can flip through a book really quickly and then recite the words back to you. And all of them, it's story. Like if they tell a story in order to remember things,
Yeah.
because the brain is literally hardwired to remember stories. If you think about your favorite business people, you usually remember the stories that they tell over the information that they deliver. So if you know that, you can use story to your advantage and you can use copy to quickly tell a story, mostly in headlines, so that people get the gist of who you are, who you help, why you help them, and how their story can look like yours. And that they're going to remember that. They're going to remember you more than they will remember your competition.
I totally agree. I have, between all the different podcasts, all the spaces I've been in just the last 24 months, I've conducted over 250 interviews. And I can usually look at literally just the picture of the individual, and I would say probably close to 80% of this 250, I can tell you, something unique about them that they shared with me. And it doesn't matter if it
Mm.
was last week's interviews or last year's interviews. And it's because stories impact. I want to go first. I want to grab, you said you have a couple tips that can help shift the dial for the quality of copy some of these women are putting out. Give us those couple tips,
Absolutely.
and then I've got a couple questions around, okay, folks, I have to do it, AI. So let's talk about the tips.
Oh, I'm excited to get there. Okay, great. So here's some tips that are very practical. You do not have to be a professional writer to implement these tips. First of all, just have the knowledge 80% of people only read headlines. So when you have that information, you need to understand that headlines need to capture attention, and you need to be able to follow a web page only on headlines. So you should be able to delete all the body copy, all the bullet points, all the calls to action, and just the headlines should tell people who you are, how you help, and where they should go. Give them a call to action, tell them what to do in no uncertain terms, all in headlines. So just knowing that is going to make you think differently when you look at a website, right? Just knowing that is going to make you think differently when you write an email. The things that you bold, paragraph headings, 80% of people are only reading that and clicking away. Second thing to know, our attention spans. Here's another nerdy statistic. So in 2018, when I originally looked at this study, I was looking at attention spans, and we had 3 seconds to capture someone's attention. In 2020, that went down to 1 second. And in 2023, it is now 0.3 seconds. So we now know we have 0.3 seconds to capture somebody's attention, which means it has to be so effing clear what our brand is. the colors, the vibe, the font. Copy is part of this brand, but know that you have zero point 0.3 seconds to capture someone's attention. So you cannot waste any real estate, especially at the top of a web page. The very first thing that loads is what people are going to decide whether or not you're the person to help them. Another nerdy statistic: the human brain is wired to recognize text first. So even if you have a beautiful headshot and the colors are gorgeous, people are going to see the text first, meaning your headline has to be short, big, and clear and tell them what to do next. So just adjusting the way you think. Can you go on your website and think, okay, I have zero point 0.3 seconds. My first headline needs to clearly communicate who I am and what I do and tell people where to go. Just take that on your homepage and your about page. And can you adjust what is there to set yourself up for more conversions, to set yourself up for success? And the last tip that I want to say, for the verbal vomiters out there, a lot of times verbal vomiters do a couple of things. They either put way too much copy on their website, or they put like little to no copy, or they just don't put anything up at all because they're worried that they're over explaining themselves. Go ahead and over explain yourself, but put it in a Google document or put it in a Word document. Write to your heart's content, verbal vomit onto the page, go with God. Then what you're going to do is what I call the highlighter trick. You're going to go through with a highlighter, whether it's digital or you print it out on paper, and you're going to highlight only the most important points within your verbal vomit. And you're going to take that, and only the highlighted parts is what should be on your website. Just that. Just pop them right out. And I'm going to give one more tip because why
All right,
not? We're here.
we're here.
One more tip is to, if you're struggling with the actual words, go ahead and do what's called review mining. Look at reviews and testimonials of your past clients. And if you don't yet have any, look at your competitors' reviews and testimonials. Chances are you're going to see keywords and key phrases repeated a lot. Take those words and literally take them out of your ideal customer's mouth and put them into your own copy. What this does is it triggers your ideal customer to say, oh my God, that's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly what I want. She's speaking my language. Use your ideal customer as an idea factory for how to talk to your ideal customer. Okay, phew, that was a lot.
Okay, are you ready for the questions?
I'm ready
Because
for the questions, Cam.
this was good. Okay, so you talk titles, you talk your headlines,
Mhm.
clickbait,
I'm sorry?
clickbait. Let's talk
Clickbait.
yeah, where the headline has absolutely nothing with what is in the actual story.
Mhm.
I personally struggle with this because I want to be true in what I share. And I
Mhm.
believe a lot of women struggle with this.
Mhm.
Talk to us about clickbait and what are some things that we should adopt? Why? You know the psychology behind this.
Mhm.
How do we get beyond past ourselves so maybe we can adopt a few things in order to capture a larger audience? So let's talk about that.
I love this. Okay, so clickbait is essentially exactly what Kim said. It's a really good headline that gets you to click on it, but then when you read the story, it has nothing to do with it or it was misrepresented. Absolutely do not do that. Your
Thank you.
headline should reflect what is in the copy of the blog post or the essay or whatever it is. Here's why. If you are writing as an entrepreneur and not as a news outlet, because clickbait is really more for news outlets because attention is so scarce. It's a poor practice for news outlets that probably don't have a lot of subscriber numbers. Should not be applied as a practice to entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yes, of course. Entrepreneurs, however, can use a couple of the formulas for headline writing and apply them to their blogs, their titles on Pinterest, titles on YouTube videos, titles of podcast episodes in order to increase curiosity and increase clicks without having that ethical, uh, just yucky feeling of that's not actually what's in the episode or that's not actually what's in the blog. So, here are some things that you can adopt that are good practices without being ethically bad. Number one, lists, numbers. Numbers interrupt the brain when reading. We love seeing the top 10 ways to X, the top tools I use for email marketing, the 5 best places to go in San Diego. The brain loves numbers, the brain loves a list. And that is because, again, biology, we are wired to want to absorb and learn information. It's actually a survival thing. The brain wants to learn new information so that it can use that information to survive. We can use that in writing, and lists, numbers are great. Second, use that the same part of the brain and phrase the title, the headline, as a question. The brain automatically wants to answer that question. So, for example, if I saw the headline, "How often should you really wash your sheets?" I absolutely want to click on that article and read, say it's a designer and she's talking about different sheets. How often should you really wash your sheets? Um, or uh, what makes a great headline? That's a question, right? So phrasing it as a question piques our
Ah.
curiosity. Another tip is to use trigger words that, again, pique our curiosity. My favorite of which is the word this. This one tip can save you an hour a day. This one tool eliminated, eliminated 20 hours of my work week, whatever it is. Um, are you wondering how to save your marriage? Try this. There's a twofer, right? A question and using the word this. Another tip is to use words like news, update, announcement. That also, we want to close that loop. We want to know what's happening. And again, all of this, it should reflect what's in the article, what's in the email, what's in the blog, what's in the video. Make sure that it matches. It's just about the formula that you use to relay the information. Hopefully that's helpful.
No, that's awesome because I actually, while you're talking, first of all, I was finding my cap. So if everybody's wondering what I'm doing, I dropped my marker. I have a glass top desk that gets filled during these because that's all I'm doing is writing all my notes. And I got the
Oh,
numbers.
what a cool, fun toy. I want that now.
I know. And you know what? I'm going to give everybody a tip on the cheapest way to turn your current desk into a glass top so you can write with all your markers. So then, the point of this is that I don't have sticky notes everywhere. I have to
Mm.
content. Go to the auto shop. You can get glass super cheap. Just so everybody
How
knows. I am
fun.
the
Oh
queen of
my gosh.
Okay, so I actually went onto my YouTube and I'm looking at it going, "Okay, okay." So instead of unleashing your inner superpower of vulnerability insights with Trish Perry, PPC, it could be
Mhm.
learn the top 3 ways to get greater
Yes.
inner insight with Trish Perry.
Yes.
Or do
Yes.
you have great insight? Follow these 3 tips from Trish Perry. Okay.
Can vulnerability help your business? Learn
See?
how.
Yeah. So then I
Yep.
wrote the one was, no, they're all statements. All of
Yeah.
my thumbnails are statements.
Yeah.
Didn't even think
Another
about that.
another really good trigger phrase is how to.
Yeah.
People love knowing how to. So, yeah. Yeah.
How to,
Mhm.
news, update, announcement. Okay, so we've tackled clickbait because clickbait makes me feel icky, and I don't
Yep.
ever want to. And I've had people try to push that on me in past,
Nope.
and it's not my thing.
Nope.
Um, let's talk multiverticals. Okay, because you are a multivertical between proficiency and passion also. Um, many women, especially women who have had full 20, 30-year careers, their passion may be in one spot. So Kim
Mhm.
Talks resilience is my passion.
Mhm.
Interviewing people is my passion, but I have a proficiency of 15 years as a top 1% real estate agent. So I have a
Mhm.
proficiency in real estate. So how do you create copy that encompasses separate verticals, but the same person that is serving those? Or can you?
Mm.
Do you need different
You totally
websites?
can.
Okay.
Well,
Am I
asterisk.
asking hard questions?
Yes, but it's great because it's, like, really firing up my noodle, Kim. I love it. I love these questions, and it's
Awesome.
also, like, it's so fun to talk about hard questions because sometimes we don't know. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm an expert in copywriting, but, take everything with a grain of salt. That's something that I really love about the online space is you're allowed to take what advice helps you and to leave what doesn't, right?
Exactly.
So, let's talk through that. A lot of times I actually see this a lot with students and people in my membership. I have a membership called BYOB, Build Your Own Business. And it's for newer entrepreneurs who are kind of at the beginning and trying to figure this out. So many of them have exactly this, where they're like, I do this and I do this and I sell this and I have programs, but I also have products. And like, how do I begin to encompass this? So I think if the proficiencies are so wildly different, then you might need 2 websites. Like, if you're talking about, like, real estate versus mental health,
Yeah.
then you probably are gonna want different websites, but a
Yeah.
way to link the 2 businesses between each other, right? Um, Now, if you want to have it all in one website, one company, then I would say really focusing on your personal brand is a great strategy here. And something I always help my students with initially is what is your unique value proposition? And for anyone who doesn't know, the definition of a value proposition is the number one thing you do or sell that your ideal customer already wants, that your competition doesn't offer or doesn't offer in the same way. So, this is basically a statement that encapsulates the number one way that you help people and how it's different from your competition. So, I love that because with a lot of people who are like, yeah, but I do and sell so many things. Great, but what's the number one way you help people? What is the
Yep.
thing that people come to you for the most?
Yep.
That really can crystallize and color all the different proficiencies that you have, all the different verticals that you work in.
I get it. And that is, you know, there's gonna be so much in the show notes, folks. So much.
I
Okay.
know. I
I this is
definitely
this you are definitely part one, part two interview. Absolutely, because I could actually go into that and we could actually pull that apart because that is a lot. So things that I come across on a regular basis in speaking with women:
Mhm.
confidence, credibility, relevancy. Those are the
Mm,
top 3 things after 250 interviews in just the last 24 months that I can tell you that I am hearing on the regular: confidence, credibility, and relevancy. And those are actually the reverse for creating your brand copy.
yes. Yes.
So, because I promise you, I can't even say this enough, and I say this in almost every episode. You have knowledge that other people want.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. I have a gal that's gonna be coming on the show that actually grows worms for composting, and she teaches people how to do worms for she's the worm woman. I
I
can
love it. What a
guarantee you,
niche.
yeah, I can guarantee you somebody out there needs and wants this information,
Yep.
right? So I promise you, if you're doing something that is a point of proficiency and passion, something that you're good at and that you love, somebody out there loves it, but they're not good at it yet, and they need to hear you.
Mhm.
So let's talk
Yes.
real quick. We're gonna wrap into AI real quick, help or hinder, and then we're gonna move right into kind of that resilience, I want to talk a little bit about the mindset of your transition from Hollywood to an entrepreneur copyright expert.
Sure.
So, real quick, let's hit AI. Everybody's talking AI. I personally
Mhm.
love it. My husband is dyslexic. My daughter is dyslexic. Copyright AI is not what you see at the end product. We are using some copywriting AI to help clarify and be able to
Mhm.
bring everything together. Talk to me about AI and how can we use it for good?
So, I'm so happy that we're talking about this, and I also feel a little bit vulnerable sharing this. So, I initially, when AI and ChatGPT really kind of hit the mainstream, I was very vocal anti ChatGPT. I was like, you're not writing, you're not speaking to your customers, which means you're kind of lying to them, right? And I just felt really icky. But then I really sat with it and I did what is actually, I think, quite hard for a lot of people to do, which is keep an open mind and really question, could this help people other than me, right? I happen to be really proficient as a writer, but would someone who really struggles with writing be helped by this? And I have actually changed my tune. I think that AI, while it should absolutely not be the final product that you share,
Yep,
it is so great if you think of it as a junior copywriter. If you
exactly.
say, yes, if you say, give me 10 blog post ideas about, how to invest as a woman, give me a story idea or like give me a summary of this court case or something that you would be spending a lot of time writing or
Yep,
researching, that AI can very quickly give you the information that you need so that you can tweak it to be in your voice. So I think it's both. I think the danger zone is if people don't have a brand voice first.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree completely. I've been using AI for before ChatGPT was publicly launched. I used a product called Jarvis, which became Jasper, and because I'm not a writer, and yet I get so much video content that if it's in a written form, it's going to go to a different audience. So being able to transcribe, and then there's a lot of things in video that don't move well within the written language. So then you can put that over into an AI and you can start clearing, and then you still have to go through and tweak it.
Mhm.
AI will be a replacement for certain jobs. It
Yeah.
will be a replacement for paralegal because paralegal AI can do 1,000 hours of work inside of 100 hours of a human. However, it will not replace all paralegals. Paralegals that have great EQ and IQ balance will still have jobs because they still have to govern that content that is being
Mhm.
developed and making sure that it's appropriate. So, yeah, AI is here, folks. We can't put the genie back in the bottle. There's some weird stuff coming out. Google has a whole new suite. Um, I think what it does is it's gonna allow the creators out there to continue creating. I actually am kind of excited because I think it's going to level the playing field for a lot of people like my husband who would take 6, 7 days to create one article. Now he still takes 3,
Mhm.
4 days to create an article because he does so much in-depth research, but the words are no longer jumbled. Right?
Mhm.
So, and great copywriters, if you're a copywriter listening to this, you will not get replaced because there is no emotional aspect to AI,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Yes, absolutely, and I think there's an intimidation factor with AI. So I actually think that professional copywriters, especially ones who work for kind of big corporations who need a lot of copy,
Mhm.
um, I think that there will be new proficiencies where you will need a human being to
Yep.
understand what's relevant and to polish and to present the information in a way that is interesting, right? Like,
Yep.
we talked about this with acting, like, it has to be entertaining first. It can't just be good information. It has to be entertaining and capture our attention and deliver the information in a way that makes us wanna stay on the page.
At the end of the day, human beings, we're pretty darn entertaining, and that's what's gonna be the differentiator, right? Use the tools. I love how you brought up the word proficiency. Um, the absolute ferocious appetite for content because
Mhm,
our focus is dwindled so much.
mhm,
We're
right.
consuming way more. You know, it's this is gives us an opportunity to l level up the creation or the content creation, output
Mhm.
while still retaining some time and being more proficient. So, let's talk about resilience. I want you to, if you're open, only if you're open to this.
Of course.
We know that there's a challenge when we are shifting lanes. It was very hard for me to leave a $250,000 a year, uh, revenue through
Mhm,
real estate, and that was at a minimum, um, to go into this path where 90% of people fail, and it's actually a very low income if you don't have a professional gigs with it. What was that when you were leaving what you'd worked so hard on and you would invest tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. What was that language that helped you, that resiliency within to go ahead and
mm.
just do it?
Yeah. So thank you for asking this question. I think that the mental health aspect of being an entrepreneur is not talked about nearly enough, especially for women, because again, we have been conditioned to be small, to play small, and to fit ourselves into other people's pictures and to help other people's dreams come true. Like when we think of a good woman, it's usually kind of a martyry idea instead of someone who really freaking owns herself and what she wants and is confident. Like that feels a little scary, right? So I think it's so important to acknowledge that it might not feel great in your body at first when you leave the corporate job, when you leave the toxic relationship, when you shift your life in order to pursue something that feels truer and more beautiful. It is not going to feel good all the time. And I think that that is something I wish I had known. I wish I had known that that was normal, and I think I would have made the transition a lot sooner and a lot smoother. So, putting that out there for anybody who is on the fence. Do I leave? Do I stay? Do I bet on myself? Do I stay small? Do I turn the side hustle into my full-time thing, or do I keep it a secret from my boss? Know that it's not just that it's gonna feel scary, it's actually going to feel wrong.
Yep.
And, like, that's normal, it's normal. So, about my specific story, I think it got to a point where it was unignorable. I was really just, like, low level depressed. It wasn't dramatic, but it was unignorable in that, like, I wasn't clinically depressed. I really empathize and want to be respectful of people who deal with depression and anxiety. Um, my experience was that it was this low level dissatisfaction with kind of everything. Like it started with work and then it became with social and then it became like I didn't really want to do anything. I was really disillusioned and I just kind of stopped trying. But here was the thing, being an artist, I understood the feeling of working on something that brings you to life, right? I chose the path of an actor because for a reason, and that reason was not money. Because let
Yep.
me tell you, you think being an actor might be glamorous. I was on Modern Family new girl. I was in a show. I was in a movie with Zac Efron. Like I was making it on paper. I was in an off-Broadway show. At no point did I make more than $1,000 for any of those jobs.
Yep.
Not even close. So I wasn't doing it for the money. And I think that actually set me up for success because I think a lot of us do things for the money. And money, the golden handcuffs are very, very enticing and tempting. And we feel secure, right? We want that feeling of security. But here's the thing, if you're here listening to this podcast, you probably have that entrepreneurial fire in your belly and you know you're meant for something more. You want to create something that is going to outlive you or outlast, that is going to make more of an impact in the world than crunching numbers for some company, right? You're here because you know that already. You know that already. So listen to yourself. Listen to that intuition. Listen to your gut. Understand how you want to feel when you work more than what you want to make from your work. That would be my biggest piece of advice.
And that they have done studies on happiness quotients, and they have
Mhm.
found that there's no discernible difference in happiness after like 220,000 a year.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, and it literally happiness is between 75. So I understand, ladies, if you're the part of the purpose of this podcast is to give you insight and tips and introduce you to women who can help create differences in your business, in your messaging, you know, in your observing yourself if you're needing any that support. But yeah, I completely agree. Life is too short, yet you do have more time than you think. I promise you.
Mm.
If you're 50
Mhm.
and you're part of that resignation generation and you're struggling, the reality is I promise there's somebody who wants what you have. There's somebody who needs to learn from you. You just need to know how to get the message out there. And that's where experts like Kelsey comes in. Kelsey, what are you reading, listening to, following, watching? What's feeding your soul right now?
Great question. So I just discovered the app Libby. I feel like I'm very late to the game, but Libby is an app that is through your public library, but they have
Oh,
audiobooks.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. And I guess there's also Cloud Library, but I just downloaded Libby maybe 2 months ago. I'm going ham, Kim. I am downloading all the audiobooks and I listen to them on 1.2 speed. And it's like changing my life because reading a physical book or reading a Kindle, I really love that experience, but it just takes a lot of time. So I love listening to books so that I can be doing things like I love cooking, so I'll listen while I'm cooking or I'll listen while I'm walking or exercising or just like going around the house not having screen time, and it's changed my life. So hot tip, download Libby. Um, I usually have 3 books going at any given time. A really cheesy, like either a mystery or a fantasy or YA or something that takes me out of my head.
I love
Um,
YA. I'm 54 years old, and then those of you who don't know what that's young adults, so I love YA.
yeah.
It's like it just literally removes, but I also watched all the Sabrina episodes, so
Yeah.
I'm like a
Yes.
giant toddler.
No, but here's the thing, Kim. Here's the business, the fun, like unexpected reward is that our brain is actually more creative when it's in, I forget the actual scientific term, but it's like default mode, I think. Like when it's doing a task or it's taking in information that doesn't require it to work, that is when we get our best ideas, right? It's why we get our best ideas in the shower. Our body and our brain is engaged
Yep.
in a low level task that gives our brain its literal rest time. There's science behind this. So I actually started doing this for that reason and stopped shaming myself for wanting to reread Twilight. I mean,
I mean, come
sorry.
on. Yeah,
Sorry, not sorry.
I get it.
Um, so I always have something like that that allows me to escape. and books and TV. And then I always have a memoir going. I am currently writing a memoir about my decision to leave Hollywood to create my own business, but it's mostly about Hollywood and kind of being a woman and basically all of the crap that we deal with is, being a woman is amplified to the 10th degree when you're in Hollywood. So I'm writing this memoir. And so I'm devouring other people's memoirs. If you guys are into that, an incredible book I just finished is it's a terrible title. I'm sorry. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. She was the lead of two Nickelodeon shows and she had a really not mentally well stage mom. It is an incredible memoir. And
Wow.
then the third thing I always have going is some sort of self improvement or business book. And right now I am rereading The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. Loving it on my second read. And this time I'm reading the 10th anniversary edition, which includes journal prompts so that you can sort of be on your own journey as you read.
And Brene Brown, is her show released yet? I know that she got contracted to do a show for HBO, a
Yes,
whole
I
series.
watched
So
that.
did that
It's called Atlas of the Heart. It's beautiful. She has an accompanying book, and in it, she takes research from all of the emotion researchers and neuroscientists, and they boil it down to, I think, the 88 emotions that human beings feel, and they define them. It's amazing,
very
especially
cool.
like if you ever get in fights with your partner and you're like, I have this feeling it's not quite angry, but I don't know what it is. Like, literally, I will go to the book and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yep.
oh, it's frustration. I'm not angry. It's frustration,
Yeah.
or it's disempowered." Right? So, like, yeah,
Yeah,
love
anger is
it.
a
Love the
default.
series.
Anger is a default emotion.
Mhm.
Um, and unfortunately, it's an emotion that many have over the last few years through social media and such defaulted to, instead of
Yeah.
actually finding the true cause, the true
Mhm.
core
Why
to
do
it.
I feel
Yeah,
defensive?
yeah,
Why do I
exactly.
feel like, yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm going to challenge everybody. If you're feeling angry today, I want you to stop, breathe, and step back and find out why. Because I
Yeah.
promise you, there's a deeper reason. Anger is just a symptom. All right,
Mm.
let's go through all your socials. I have
Great.
Magic Words Copywriting is up here already, and
Yes.
I have your website.
Yes,
So
kelseyforemost.com. Everything can be found there from, if you need a copywriter, you can contact me. I love helping people on one-on-one projects, or you can take a course. You can learn more about my different offerings. I've got templates if you're like, I need copy yesterday. And there's a ton of freebies on there too. If
ooh,
you're
I was
like,
going to ask freebies. Tell me what you got for freebies. I love
yes.
freebies.
So great. So kelseyforemost.com, my main three freebies are right there on my homepage because you should always have your freebies as the first thing that people see so that you get them on your email list because that's where sales happen, everybody. Copywriter tip. So my three freebies are how to start and grow an email list, the three copywriting tips to 3x conversions in under 30 minutes, and how to write an optimized social media bio. Those are my three big freebies. They're all freaking great. Download them, use them, go with God.
That's awesome. All right. I always ask to close the show out with a quote. Um, so share with us a quote that inspires you and why.
Yes. So I'll start with the why actually. So when I left Hollywood, when I decided to reinvest in myself and my business, I quit a really big ticket corporate client last October, October 2022. And it took a lot of soul searching to leave because it was 90% of my income. But I was in extreme burnout and I sought out some therapy. Love therapy, highly recommend it, and started healing some people pleasing tendencies that I had. And when I was in a therapy session, the therapist straight up asked me, "So, what is it that you're hoping for?" And I said, "I don't even want to be happy. I just want to feel peace. I just don't want to wake up feeling this like anxious dread anymore. I just want peace. I want the noise to stop. I just want peace. And she was like, well, the way into peace is to be in the present. What's around you right now? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Who's in the house with you? What is your life in this moment? So I really, in that healing of people pleasing and codependency and leaving this big corporate client and taking this leap to reinvest in myself, reinvest in my business, I made the decision. And here's the quote: if something costs me my peace or my presence, then the cost is too high. That includes problematic clients. That includes friends who are not supportive. That includes following social media accounts that don't make me feel good. If it costs you your peace or your presence, the cost is too high.
I don't have anything that I can add to that because I 110% agree with you.
Mm.
I 110%. So we're going to close the show out today with, I'm going to give each and every one of you permission. So if you're not going to give yourself permission, I'm giving you permission. Permission to limit, reduce, or remove the things that are draining your soul, the things that are killing your spirit. Because in business, in personal life, the reality is there's going to be somebody who loves doing what's killing your soul. So let
Yeah.
them do it. Seriously, if killing your soul is learning a new piece of technology and you're just beating your head against the wall, and that's not your space of, that's not your space of your greatness,
Mm-hmm.
then you know what? Invest in your greatness and get it off your plate.
Yeah.
Get it off your plate, right? There's enough
Mm-hmm.
out there. There's enough out there. You don't have to do things. I think that's the beauty of today's world.
Yeah.
Is through Fiverr, through all of these spaces, you can find limited partners. You can find people that complement you. You can find amazing people like Kelsey who can eliminate the fear and the frustrations that limit you and make you unhappy and suck the peace out of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
so I'm giving you permission. Find alternatives. I am speaking now. You have permission. I promise you. Nobody, and if somebody's going to judge you, then put them on your limited or reduced or removed column too, right?
God, that's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
So until next time, Kelsey, any parting words? Any fighting words you got? You good to go? Do you feel that your
I
tongue's
am
been
good
well
to
served?
go. And I just want to encourage people, just one last thing on the copywriting. You don't have to be a good writer. Like, you don't. You can just be you. You can just write how you talk. I really, really hope that this encourages you to think about how you make people feel and just make sure that your words reflect that. You can do it. I believe in you. And if you need help, you know where to find me.
Amazing. Guys, go out there. You know what? Be kind to yourself. All of this, be kind to yourself. Thank you for joining us here today at Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and I'd love to invite you to our resilient community at resilientgift.com. That's resilientgift.com, and we'll send you our magazine and tickets for upcoming events and all sorts of cool things we do here. So be sure to keep watching, and you know what? Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know that